Hi there and welcome to another edition of the How to Make Money With podcast. My name is Ryk van Niekerk and this podcast is your essential guide to practical, innovative and sometimes downright surprising ways to earn some extra cash. Call it your ongoing quest for the ultimate side hustle. Remember, opportunities are everywhere and you've just got to know where to look to find them. Today's topic is how to make money with auctions. With me is Paul Holt. He's the owner of Vans Auctioneers in KwaZulu-Natal. Vans Auctioneers has been around since 1964 and is one of the leading auctioneers in the country. Paul, thank you so much for your time today. Just give us a bit of a background on the auction industry. How big is it in South Africa? Is it growing? And what are the main trends?
Right, thank you for the opportunity. Auctions is a place that I didn't see myself being involved in when I was studying or a youngster. But ample opportunity. After the COVID, we've had a bump to the online platforms, which has seen exponential growth for us all due to customers being able to bid, whether they're in Joburg or in Cape Town. We are franchised and your old auctions used to be on site. So you were limited to a very small market for people that were available to come to the actual physical auction. Always a nice day. You know, you have a Woordbroekie and a braai. People buy one man's trash as totally another man's treasure. And the prices you see people pay for certain things that we would think needs to go to the scrap heap always fascinates. But always a place where people can pick up a bargain. Just a nice industry. You need to, especially buyers, need to just teach themselves or speak to an auctioneer or two with regards to not buying themselves a hole in their pocket. But yeah, lots of opportunity with the online. We've had enormous growth.
Yeah, one man's trash is another person's treasure. I think that is well put.
Yeah.
But you know, if I think of auctions, I think of properties, vehicles, art, livestock. Are those the main auctions in South Africa which attract the bulk of the buyers?
Yes. You're more specialized online, well, not only online, but auction houses tend to be international. They'll specialize in the art and jewelry, stuff like that. I think locally based is more livestock, vehicles and property.
And are there people who line up auction after auction to try and buy stuff with the sole aim of selling it somewhere else for a profit?
Yes, there's always the people that think they're going to get rich overnight. And, you know, unschooled buyer, you need to school yourself as a buyer because you often get the guy that heard a story from somebody, you know, buying something for 10 Rand and selling it for 5,000 or whatever the case is. So you need to school yourself a bit with regards to what you look at and what you buy. But you often get the storm to a certain type of auction where people come to buy something they often think makes them rich. Sometimes people come to buy collectibles. And then you get the school buyer. Back in the old day, it used to be the guys with secondhand shops that used to buy to fill up their own shelf. So yeah, a wide variety of people and a lot of new guys coming in, especially now with consumers being under pressure. A lot of guys are joining to buy and sell and make a buck.
You say people need to school themselves. What do you mean by that?
Just if you're coming to buy something and it's for yourself, you tend to apply the value to it. I can't advise you what the value is of an asset. But if you come to an auction and you want to buy a vehicle to resell it, come and speak to the auctioneers or give us a call and we can help you with regards to don't overpay for an item that you want to resell and you need to make $5. Look at the condition of a vehicle. Was it in an accident? How many owners has it had? Service history. So just familiarize yourself with the physical asset, what it is, where the value is of assets, so that you don't buy something for a vehicle example and you need to replace all the tires that's been in an accident and then you sit with the problem.
Yeah, go and look at the vehicle. Ensure that it's in a good condition. Scan the VIN number to see whether it's still under warranty. Do your homework, otherwise it can go pear-shaped. I just want to come back to the different types of auctions. Obviously, livestock auctions are solely for the purpose of buying and reselling. You see a lot of those in rural areas. Are there big differences between the online auctions and physical auctions?
So, Rick, from a business point of view for us, we try and facilitate that if we do an online auction, we have viewing days. So clients can come out and physically kick the tires if they want to familiarize themselves with assets so they don't buy. And we have an issue later on where people say, look, this is broken or that's broken. We try to identify all the patent and latent defects. So when a client that's purchased from you a few times will learn to trust you or not. Honesty is number one. You tend to take a shortcut in the industry and you'll quickly see how small the industry is. So we try to facilitate a way that people who bid online can familiarize themselves with assets. Livestock is a bit more specialized. If you're going to eat the cow after you've bought it, you'll have to be there to see the condition. If you're going to breed with it, total different industry. But they also do online. I've seen them do the online auctions, but not our speciality, unfortunately.
I'm looking at one of the auctions on the Vans Auctioneers website, and it's for household goods. And there are many items on offer. There must be thousands here. There are handbags, there are keychains, there are ladders, there are stoves, a lot of office equipment, and the list just goes on and on and on. And it's an online auction. It lasts for 24 hours. What would the interest be in a typical auction like this?
So a lot of reoccurring clients that have offset points, guys buying and reselling, not necessarily buying, for themselves to use. So those are more area-based buyers that will come to the physical site to come and view. But each auction is different. That's one of the nice things about the industry is each auction is different. And if you have on the next auction, you'll have mining equipment and you'll get guys coming from the mines. And this auction, you have furniture and household and you get the tunnies coming from home to quickly come and buy a silver plate or a Carol Boy's bowl. So always different people, always interesting. So you do get the reoccurring guys, but with the online and the nice electronic marketing that we currently have available, wide variety of people and different every time.
What are the mechanics of such an auction? Do you need to put down a deposit of sorts? What are the extra fees that are payable? And how do people receive the goods they've bought?
So twofold. We'll have viewing days. People can come and view. If it's reoccurring buyers, we as a business and franchises offer loyalty cards. So guys, they don't have to pay a deposit. New buyers we haven't dealt with from a business perspective will pay a refundable deposit. Different amount for a vehicle, different amount for a property, different amount for smalls. And then once they've bought, the auction is finished, offers are confirmed. If there's STCs, which we call subject to confirmations, often on vehicles or properties, the client will get a pro forma invoice, pay the balance of it, and then we have 5 to 7 days for collection from the physical premises. What I found in KZN at my branch is I get buyers countrywide. So with the growth of courier companies, guys will, especially clients that know you and have dealt with you before, they don't mind buying 5 or 10 or 15 items. We'll pack them in a box. Once it's paid, send a courier guy and collect and send wherever.
So it's a lot easier, and I would imagine it's a fantastic development for auction houses like yourself, because suddenly the potential clients or bidders become national as opposed to close by the actual warehouse or where the auction will take place. So have you seen an increase in prices because there are more bidders?
Tongue-in-cheek, COVID pushed us to go online, a bit more paperwork on the back end, because you have to load each lot, take photos of each lot. But absolutely, the client base is suddenly nationwide. And if you sell, each auction is different, but it sell more specialized items, the guys all over the country is available to bid and they can bid on multiple auctions. I've got 1 or 2 clients that if you go to their offices, they're bidding on some auction somewhere. And often they have 2 screens open, and the one is our auction and the one is somebody else's auction. So it's open countrywide, and accessibility with the courier services. Yeah, it's been good for business for us. The last 12 months, I'd say, economy's been pushing a bit. As you mentioned, this auction, our Gauteng branch has got on now. The smalls tend to sell at lower prices. So a good time to maybe buy a bargain or 2. But your equipment that people buy to use for themselves to make a buck or use in their own businesses, prices are good and have gone up a bit with online, where you get more bidders available to bid simultaneous times.
How do these auctions work? Because they're not live, as you would have at a live auction where there's an auctioneer talking very fast and pointing his fingers at bidders. So how does it work with an online auction? How do you bid, and how can you put in a higher bid than a previous one?
So it's been a development of systems which we've had trial and error with. Some auctions we still do online and physical. So we'll be bidding physically on site. People will be sitting around you and there's an online presence. So then we have admin staff that would monitor both and we control when the lot closes or not. The online system that runs on its own has a built-in system that if it has bidding close to closing time, it will actually extend bidding as we would on site as being a physical auctioneer. So it's been refined over the last few years, and there's quite a few systems that work very well because guys used to phone us and say, I was still bidding and it's closed. So we built an extending system. So yeah, it's not perfect yet, but it's going well.
And how many auctions are there typically at any given time? Not only at Vans auctioneers, but with other auction houses as well?
Our competition's got a lot more because banks are doing their own online auctions. The sheriffs do online auctions now, which is all different types of auctions. So for a buyer, just on a side note, if you want to school yourself, also check the type of auction. Is it a sheriff's auction? Is it a deceased estate or insolvent estate or private auction? All different with different T's and C's. So just familiarize yourself with it.
What would be the major differences be?
In terms of payment, in terms of let me give you a property example. If you buy a property on auction with the sheriff, which might be an attachment, the buyer is often responsible for all the arrears, whether it's rates and taxes, levies, whatever the case may be. If you buy in an insolvent estate, you'll be liable for a certificate of compliance, a COC, not arrears. If it's a private auction where we often have private guys immigrating or just relocating and asking us to put their properties on auction, and then it'll be a clean cut as you would buy from an estate agent, but just on an auction basis. Yeah, everybody's gone online. The competition's got a lot more because I've seen small little auctions running on Facebook. We have platforms. So there's a lot going on a lot of the time. It's busy now.
Yeah, so it's quite active. Which products are the most popular for people who like to have a side hustle, buy stuff cheaply and sell it for more money?
We always joke the best and easiest thing to sell on an auction is a Toyota Land Cruiser or a Hilux. The Hasty by the Sea is not so popular anymore.
You say vehicles. Is that a big focus for dealers or people maybe buying one or two vehicles to sell on the side?
Yeah, right. I would say the biggest, if I had to go down to two industries, I'd say vehicles and property. Smalls always change. We call them smalls in terms of tables and chairs and office equipment, stuff like that. It always changes. Restaurant equipment, they tend to be popular. Prices are very high currently on restaurant equipment because the new stuff is very expensive. So the second-hand market is booming. So if a client sees good, decent restaurant equipment on auction, have a look. Good opportunity there at this stage.
And the platforms people typically use to sell the stuff they've bought on auction, would that be platforms like Facebook Marketplace or physical second-hand stores, as you've alluded to earlier?
Yes, guys owning their own dealerships in terms of vehicles would be a lot of recurring clients. They buy from us to resell. If clients don't know, dealers work on a trade and retail basis. So they'll look at a trade value to purchase a vehicle and look at a retail value to resell it at. A lot of people buy for themselves. And then a lot of the smaller items would go to Facebook Marketplace. I know Gumtree is quite active. But for people going to buy there, also just do your homework as far as you can and not buying yourself a hole in the pocket and the item never arriving.
I think you will make the profit when you buy an item, because if you pay too much, you won't make much profit and you may be stuck with a product you can't sell. So homework is critical. But just lastly, give us a few pointers on what you need to do to be able to be successful and hopefully to make a living from flipping stuff. Give us some pointers. What should be on your checklist when you do your homework?
Rick, I'd say to familiarize yourself with the entity you're buying from, whether it's Vans or one of our competitors. Familiarize yourself with the company it is a company that's been in the industry and it's not a fly-by-night, because that also does happen. If there's viewing days and you are able to view and familiarize yourself with specific assets, go and view and kick the tires, as we always say. If it's not possible, get somebody trusted to go and have a look. Depending if you want to flip. And very important, buy at the right price. Don't overpay. People get emotional on an auction and then they overpay for stuff. So don't get emotionally involved. It's a business transaction, in and out. Don't overthink it either. but look at stuff that's trending.
Give us a few examples of really good transactions you have seen, products that have gone for a bargain and then be resold for a lot of money.
In property, rundown houses, obviously one thing to look at is the area, but we've seen quite a few lovely deals that have gone where a house was run down, bought, took 6 months to rebuild, and then sold for a gem. There's quite a few guys that buy vehicles. Again, your popular single cab vehicles in terms of bakkies are always popular because there's always a market for guys wanting to buy and transport stuff for their own little businesses. And then, often there's strange things. We once sold a bronze little statue that we thought, this thing, if you calculate the weight value of it, would be maybe 1,000 or 2,000 rand, and it was still a live auction, and I think it ended up over 50,000. I was the auctioneer, and I thought the guys are yanking my chain and making a joke, and the people were just bidding and bidding, and suddenly there was a gem of a collectible that we as auctioneers didn't even know, and it went for crazy prices, and it was sold on again for just about double the price. So always a gem lurking somewhere.
The key is know what you are buying and do your homework, and I think that is sound advice. Paul, thank you so much for your time and for sharing your insights. I think it's an exciting opportunity for people to start a side hustle, start small and then learn, and as you become better at it, I think it can be quite a cool side hustle and a profitable one.
I agree. If there's another tip to buyers is specialize. If you're going to do vehicles, do vehicles. If you do smalls, do smalls, and know your market. And definitely a lot of opportunity, yeah.
Paul, thank you so much. That was Paul Holt. He is the owner of Vans Auctioneers in KwaZulu-Natal. That's it for this episode of the How to Make Money with podcast. I hope you found it useful and maybe even a little inspiring. If you've enjoyed it, please like, follow or subscribe, depending on your platform, and share it with someone who's also looking for smart ways to earn more. Thanks for listening, and catch you next time as we explore more practical ways to make money.